Hello guys, my name is Kirill, I'm Alexander's teacher and I want to apologize for his terrible pronunciation. I don't know where he got it from, but definitely not from me. He is stupid and I think you will understand his pronunciation very soon when you get used to his terrible sounds, okay? За здоровье. Americans.
Salut comrade, my name is Sasha Goldstein, and if Acolyte series will be cancelled, it's gonna be one of the last of my videos about this amazingly magnificent and I want to kill Dave Filoni kind of franchise, and that's it. And yes, I already dropped a video on the same topic, but Tjoma and I decided to change it a bit to make a little more relevant. You know, the Acolyte series came out recently, it was great and I had a video about it, you can check it in the description below, but in the end maybe we lost the fight. All the merch was deleted as I heard. It looks like Disney once again did some dumb shit. Like, you know, every time they try to make anything about Star Wars. But many of those who even have a shred of intellect started wondering what is going on inside the head of a Sith. And of course fans didn't understand the damn thing, because they don't know the lore, but we used to be researching it not so long ago. And while studying the lore, we hadn't only learned the dates, names and events, we got really immersed in what the authors wrote and what they wanted to tell. After all, the lore is like a web. You know, web of different sources, a bunch of threads that weave different works into one universe. You get it, right? Like in the Acolyte series, right? The web. Russian jokes, don't think about that. And to actually study the lore of something means to immerse yourself in the world. It's the exact reason why some dumb fans started hissing and throwing a tantrum when you call the universe fictional. Diving into this universe, we try to understand their politics, economics and science, and the philosophy of these universes is no exception. The philosophical views of Jedi and Sith are the most popular in the Star Wars lore, and they're both set out in their respective codes. And if you try to study them, we get an understanding that the thoughts many people have about these orders or codes are not really correct. People take Jedi for heroes and embodiment of goodness, and Sith for stereotypical villains. Sometimes something similar shows in the new Lucasfilm policy. Well, you know, this sometimes thing when entire film universe is based on it, and that's why I wanna smash his head. Don't mess with Russian mafia, you motherfucker! So in this video I want to figure out the following. First one, the Jedi Code. Are they as good as we think about them? Why are Jedi specifically forbidden to develop feelings for others? And why did the Jedi fall in the prequels? Second one, the Sith Code. Are their Sith necessary is embodiment of evil? What exactly is their view on things and their personal truth? And why are they on bad terms with the Jedi? Third one, we will also try to compare the Jedi and the Sith with the heroes of other fantasy. Final result might surprise you actually. And the fourth one. Well, let's talk a little about what I mentioned above. Where can we find the philosophy of the orders in the Star Wars and how is it presented? Let's go! Before we move on these points, be sure to subscribe to my Telegram Coven. You're always welcome there, whatever language you speak. Just link in the description and in the pinned comment. As we say in Russia, let's fucking go, we say поехали нахуй. So I put forth the thesis justified during the video. The whole skit with the confrontation between the Jedi and the Sith is not based on good or evil, but the master-slave morality. That is in relation to who or what is most important, society or yourself. So, let's go to the Jedi Code. There is no emotion, there is peace. There is no ignorance, there is knowledge. There is no passion. There is serenity. There is no chaos. There is harmony. There is no death. There is the Force. These 5 lines are from a basis of a philosophy of the Jedi Order. It's actually been in the old canon, and it also became a part of new canon. So, because Odan Ur, you know, the master that invented it, it's been added to new canon actually a long time ago. Now let's see what this actually means. There is no emotion, there is a peace. This line says that Jedi do not allow themselves to be controlled by emotions. They even enter into the fray calmly, for a good reason. Please note, emotions can be not only negative, but also positive, and positive ones can also distort our judgment and force us to act contrary to logic. It is to make it so emotions don't affect the Jedi. They get taken from their families from early childhood before they got any attachments. And that's why most of the Jedi who started their training late, like Anakin, Luke or Osha, eventually joined the dark side. Anakin was the clearest example. Love made him eventually fall into darkness, but actually not only the love, partially it was also the compassion for the defeated Palpatine that made him go against Windu. So in fact, he succumbed to extremely positive emotions. And in theory, for an order of creepy villains, this seems like a pretty bad reason actually. So if we consider this like ultimate evil, please explain to me please, why Anakin fell into darkness because of love and you know, like think I don't want someone to die. It's like impossible thing, right? So yes, it's not about that. And this is just one example. There have been quite a few similar ones in history of the Order, and there would have been even more of them if creators of some works in this universe just followed this logic, but weren't swayed by the cover and did not make Jedi to knights without fear and reproach, you know. I mean, if Dave Filoni wasn't creative director of Lucasfilm, and it's our Russian joke about that he is David Giancarlo Filoni or something like that, because actually our Disney account hadn't know what his name is. And they always try to say to you, like John Filoni, like James Filoni, every name except Dave. So we just like to make fun of it. So like say to him that he's David, he's Giancarlo, and so etc. So let's continue. There's no ignorance, there is knowledge. This part of the code states that if you do not have information about the situation and do not have a lot of knowledge in general, then it's impossible to actually be guided by logic when making decisions. This is the advantage of emotions. It is too easy to rely to them. So when a Jedi enters a battle or makes a decision, he or she is guided by logic and doing so for a good reason. Actual idea is, if you need to make a decision rationally, you need to think, and in order to think, you need to have a huge amount of knowledge that is not necessary for momentary action. There's no passion, there's serenity. Again, a logical continuation of the previous statement. To be guided by logic, you need self-discipline, and not only in terms of emotions, but also in the terms of desires and pride. The rational approach is question everything, including your own judgments. Simply put, if your opinion contradicts logic, you must think again and change it. After all, according to a Ford mentioned, it may well be caused by emotions or lack of information. Answer honestly, do you often question your thoughts? I have feeling after the comments on my The Acolyte series videos that no one actually thinks at all. So being the Jedi who follows the code is hard as hell for these guys. There's no chaos, there's harmony. This is no longer about how you see yourself, but about how you see the world. The Jedi believes that everything is natural and subject to the rules. Even their death is natural, and they have to question both the fear and the abruptness of it. It is important to accept it. I'm gonna have a long comment about that later. Seeing the world as a pattern allows you to not get too upset about failures, because they are predetermined, such as fate, and to think more rationally, more logically, detached from your emotion. There is no death, there's only the Force. And that's the line about death. Again, everything is logically connected. If everything in this world is harmonious and predetermined, then the death of the Jedi himself and the death of his loved ones are also destined by fate, and from that so is the rational attitude to life. And according to the Jedi, you shouldn't get upset or grieve about of them. After all, it had to happen at this very moment. It follows the logic of past events. Yes, we are not droids, and emotions will begin to overwhelm the Jedi, and the right Jedi doesn't suppress them. Isn't that right, prequel Jedis? Just read your freaking code, damn it. But she or he realizes and accepts that he or she is what it is despite rationally. It's just that for him. He's not the most important thing right here. Jedi is a slave of social and logical things, just like in those pictures and quotes when people, instead of accepting or rejecting the fear of death and depression, invite them to a cup of tea. So, who are the Jedi? They are epitome of slave morality. Those who see the world as harmony, believe in destiny, will think both positive and negative emotions, and act beyond good and evil logically and rationally, based on what is necessary to others, and which they consider the embodiment of the right action at any given time. A vivid example of the fact that they are not against negative emotions in themselves, but against the influence of emotion in our decision itself. Like Mace Windu, who used negative emotions for rational purposes with his technique Wapad. The most important for the Jedi are the self-discipline and rules, as the morality established, the society they serve. That's why the Order would have inevitably fallen in prequels. Not only Anakin violated the code, everyone violated the code. Almost the entire Order misinterpreted it, because instead of inviting emotion for a cup of tea, they wanted to suppress them, which would inevitably lead to rebound, and as a result an explosion later, as happened to Anakin. I really love the idea that Jedi themselves betrayed their ideals. This is really the best moment in the history of Star Wars in my private opinion. Let's move on to the Sith. Their code reads as follows. Peace is a lie, there is only passion. Through passion I gain strength. Through strength I gain power. Through power I gain victory. Through victory my chains are broken. With this code, everything is way more simple. This is the morality of the masters, and society is placed lower than personal interests. However, I will try to quickly explain its essence. Peace is a lie, there is only passion. The very first phrase and immediately almost a direct contradiction to the Jedi Code. This statement tells us that the Sith are alien to the state of peace and tranquility characteristics of Jedi. The Sith succumb to their wants, their passions. Moreover, passions in this case are also not only the negative stuff. It was passion that made the legendary Darth Revan disobey the orders of the Council and stand up for the Republic and for the protection of ordinary people. This contrasts with the calm rationality of the Jedi, which caused them not to interfere in the conflict and basically let a bunch of innocent people die. Through passion, I gain strength. It means ego, self-interest, and this desire for something itself, and the corresponding emotions give the Sith a strength to achieve it. Many stereotypical characters in various universes do just that, but they are not called evil. Moreover, while there is nothing villainous in the code, everything depends on the passions of a particular person. Prioritizing oneself, a person can strive for both good and evil, and increase his or her strengths through a passion, the desire. For example, it was my passion for producing high quality content that gave me the strength to release this video for you. Despite all of my hate to Dave Filoni and the fact they cancelled Acolyte 2. And passion can give you the desire to subscribe to my channel and Telegram Coven. I will be very glad, ёpta. Well, let's move on. Through strength, I gain power. Again, a neutral judgment. Many stereotypically heroes in various works train, study, or otherwise give the best in order to become stronger and achieve their goals. And this very important, my own. Because this morality is the morality of masters, where you and your ego are the most important thing to achieve your own goals. Note that even the text, the code itself, is full of personal pronouns, and there are none in Jedi 1. And the code doesn't contradict any personal goals that the Sith strives to achieve. And I repeat, it may be the protection of something or someone, love for someone or something, and maybe even the desire to be yourself in any way. True power again victory. Again, it is not against the law in any fantasy. The victory of good over evil has long been described and glorified in many other fantasy works. Even many Jedi are susceptible to the idea of defeating a Sith, especially in the prequels. Only a few understood that, according to the logic and teaching of Jedi, victory is not the destruction of enemy, even if, according to them, the enemy embodies evil itself. The victory is finding another way to avoid battle. The path is rational and logical, embodying the idea of a coup called slave morality. As Yoda told Obi-Wan, victory, you say.
Master Obi-Wan, not victory. The shroud of the dark side has fallen. Begun. The Clone War has.
True victory, my chains are broken and the Force shall free me. We can look at these together. They say that having won a victory for your personal interests and ideals, you throw off the shackles of fate, of a certain predestination. Supposedly, kind characters call this evil fate and also get rid of such shackles, defeating the evil they themselves have deemed as one. The great power frees the Sith, allowing them to choose any path and puts them above society, above all others. So let's wrap it up. Having reviewed both codes, we understand that in essence and by design these do not represent good and evils and do not represent heroes and villains at all. Jedi always put their interests below those of others, below the rules, below rationality, even if they wanted to help someone and do something incredibly good. So if society benefits from waiting and not eradicating slavery, they will act like that. Or if the war is raging and population gets eradicated in a genocide, just like in Revan history, then if there is a logical reason not to interfere, maybe to preserve strength in face of a greater threat, then this is what should be done. After all, only by letting some people die, they would be able to preserve their strength and, in their opinion, protect more lives from the Sith later. The Jedi are the slaves of society, slaves who always put themselves below, always being under some kind of necessity, some kind of rationality, under anything that George Lucas thought was right. By the way, his wife left him because he considers himself too important of a person to experience simple human emotions. Does that remind you about anything? About this code, by the way. The Sith are on the side of following their desires, their ideals and values. They want to be free and choose and always draw strength from oneself, not from what a society needs. Sometimes even to the detriment of others. But this freedom also includes the freedom to actually do good, the freedom to love, to sympathize, to protect. Few Siths used it, but still there were quite a few. Partly society itself is to blame for this. Since childhood we have been told that we should be dazed and confused, you know. The post-Christian ethics tells us that most people will do mostly evil if they are free and have no restrictions. And under this ethic, those screenwriters who did not see the full depth of this idea create an imagine of heroes and villains and people follow. It should be noted that screenwriters in both canons, both the old one and new one, are prone to this. But there were also those who understood the idea and made the Jedi and Sith exactly who they should be according to their codes. Just like Leslie Hanlon, by the way, actually. There is also the Jedi Order from the past, history of KOTOR, you know, Knights of the Old Republic, Darth Traya from KOTOR 2, and Darth Mar and Lana Beniko from SWTOR, SVTOR. In Russia we actually call it SVTOR. Like this, SVTOR. Why are all these from Old Republic? I don't even know. Maybe because it wasn't made by Lucas, my favorite schizophrenic genius. Maybe I just couldn't remember the others on the fly. But you can remind me of them in the comments right now. Comments are right here, below. Just text me. I'm gonna answer if it isn't a bullshit. To be fair, there is still a dichotomy in the old canon, not only manifested in the master-slave morality, but in the confrontation of nature and artificial life. You know, like Jedi's used to be taking crystals from caves, and the Sith grew artificial ones. Moreover, this largely determined and the design of the Empire back in the original trilogy, but this is completely different story. So what I wanted to say about Acolyte series. Why I think it's the most lore project we ever had. Because if you think about Osha and May motivation, you'll understand that Leslie Headland really knowing what she's talking about. She really knows the lore. She understands how these codes works. So, as I tried to say to you, it codes not about heroes or heroes, it's about slaves and masters. And that's exactly why she made Saul like that. Saul wanted a Padawan. Saul wanted to be a master. He tried to be a master and do the thing morality of masters will you give. And because he never did that before, he just, you know, fucked it all up. So yes, Leslie Headland is a hell of a geek, and Disney cancelled it. Well, that's it. If you want a renewal of Acolyte series, you can see links in the description below and in the comments that is pinned, you know. You will see links there. And you've been watching Sasha Goldstein. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content. I personally have been more of a Sith and in recent years because acting high and mighty really pisses me off actually. With my weekend moral ethics, I just live as I live. As long as it doesn't bother anymore, it doesn't bother me. Thank you for all of this and for this time, and adios, comrade! Ow! And now the last thing for this video. This scenario being made by Tjoma Larved It's like one of my friends. And what I wanted to say, if you're an English speaker and you want me to do another channel with English videos, just text this in the comments. I have a lot of thoughts about Star Wars, about Marvel, about any other franchise. I can do that. I have a good translator, as you see in this video. I actually don't think I'm good improvisator, but I have a good translator, so we can do it. If you want this to happen, just text, write a comment, and I'll think about it. Adios, товарищи!